as I've been doing these workshops and all this work with the clients, I kept asking myself, what's the best way to design mobile interfaces? So, first thing, can we improve collaboration in the Agile process? You have to start with the process because you got to work with other people. You got to design maybe a great idea, but somehow somebody has to actually implement this stuff. You have to really ask yourself, what is an Agile team consist of? Well, a typical Agile team, you have a business person, then you have a designer, and you have a developer. And off you go. This is kind of a story of pre-Agile. This is what happens when you make a transition to Agile. And you all kind of work together maybe in the waterfall model, and it's all, beautiful rainbows and waterfalls, and you got a business person writing a few lines of requirements, and they turn it over to the developer, to the designer, who does some wireframes, and there's a slightly bigger stack, right? And then the developer creates this beautiful application. In this case, it's an awesome game of tic-tac-toe. But this stuff sort of flows downhill in the waterfall model, and it's all, rainbows and pink unicorns. If you look at it from our little sticky note storyboard here, you got the pointy-haired boss, presenting the future, and then these guys aren't really that happy about it. They got the computer in front of them, and then he goes, "How about estimates? Let's hear your estimates. This is going to be great. You're going to have a great application here." And at this point, your designer is dizzy because he doesn't know what the heck you're talking about. It's just a bunch of PowerPoint slides, right? And the developer has steam coming out of her ears, and this is steam, not flying broccoli. You have to forgive my poor drawing skills there. But it's really not the most ideal situation because it's a very kind of pushing out corrupts from within, right? You guys heard of that Tufty stuff? So basically it's a top-down type of presentation. It's not really very engaging. We still haven't seen the vision. We just know a couple of points on the PowerPoint slides. We don't know what you're really trying to build. So compare this with the design workshop. Now, still the same people are present, but notice the dynamic is completely different. You're all sitting around the same table. There are no electronics. You're instead working together to come up with a vision of what this thing actually would look like. And it need not take long. When we do this in workshops, when we do this in the class, it really takes 15 to 30 minutes. It need not take a long time to do this. But the dynamic is completely different because you are working together, and instead of producing a list of requirements, application should do this, should do this, should do that, you produce a storyboard that tells you what this product is actually about. And it contains a vision of what that is and some key use cases. So a vision storyboard. Let me give you an example of this. This is a case study from my SF State University course for an app called Be a Hero. And so this lady is in the kitchen. Notice a lot of drama happens in the kitchen. When you have an opening shot and it's a kitchen, you almost can bet it's going to be a drama. So this is truly a drama. She's listening to the radio, and it says, breaking news from San Francisco, Crown 4, a typhoon has devastated the Philippines, and people are in dire need of help. She says, this is terrible, how I can help. She pulls out her trusty phone, says, I'm going to donate $200. That's going to go straight to the right place. And so the relief agencies are using the funds, and supplies are dropped from the helicopter, and the refugees are being helped and ready to rebuild their lives. She feels like a hero, and these people's lives are obviously very directly improved as a result of this application. Now, using the storyboard, you can see a typical, really crystal clear use case here, right? And it's very, very easy to understand what this app is going to be doing and what the primary use case is. I'm sure there are other use cases that are involved in the app. In fact, that's what they've discovered. But that is really the primary one. Notice how much more engaging this is than a bunch of requirements. So then using this storyboard, using this vision, you can implement this using sticky notes. Now, the reason why sticky notes work is because our mobile applications are really fairly capable, but at the same time, they're very simple. They have to be because we use our fat fingers to manipulate the buttons. So there's not a lot we can do as far as pointing at this thing, right? So this thing by default is fairly simple. So this actually works surprisingly well. And this is what their wireframes would look like when they did the project. Now remember, this entire project end to end was about 13 weeks. So this is the opening shot. You can see this is the home page right here. This is the kind of stuff that's happening around the world. Then you got this kind of donate the money, different functions you can do with it. Then this whole donate sequence, and then a thank you list. And then when they got this to where they wanted it, they kept us at this level for basically almost the entire 13 weeks. And they went through several iterations, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But the key part of it is you can get in this low fidelity a lot of stuff. You can get transitions, you can get information architecture, you can get entire copy, you can get all the icons. You can pretty much solve 90%, 95% of your application by staying in this sticky note format. And the good news about this, and I'll talk about this in a minute again, is that your customers that you talk to appreciate this because they can see this as hand-drawn and they're able to engage at a completely different level and say, yes, I can give you feedback that is very deep and not just about the colors or some little thing like that, but actually very, very deep level feedback. And that's very, very useful for you, both in terms of marketing your application and in terms of building your application from the ground up. So once you got this pretty much resolved in the way you want it, you can then skin this.